What's up everyone, Tommy with Studio Sense here, coming at you on a cold November rainy day. November Rain. Wasn't that a song? Something about a graveyard and a girl in a wedding dress. You know, there's a lot of activities that one can think of on a cold rainy day as you're getting closer to wintertime. One of the best things you can do is simply sit in front of a computer, scroll through YouTube, find a good video, and I hope that's what brought you here. And specifically, if you're interested in learning about my first impressions of YSL's MYSLF, which is a brand new pillar fragrance from this fantastic designer. So keep your eyes attentive to this channel because we're going to talk about this fragrance, break down the notes, talk about when it's appropriate to wear, whether it's appropriate to purchase. Got that and more coming up, so stay tuned. Welcome back guys. Today we're talking about a brand new pillar fragrance or flagship fragrance, whatever designation you want to use to indicate that Yves Saint Laurent has created a brand new fragrance and what they hope, I'm sure, to become a great icon or signature fragrance in the future. This is called MYSLF. Now it's easy to think of the next flanker in the line being either me or I, so that when you put them on the shelf it can be me, myself, and I. Of course that's kind of kitschy, but they're not beyond a little bit of kitschy or word pun, because look at the actual name of the fragrance, MYSLF. Of course, they're omitting the E. I consider myself a bit of a wordsmith, so I dig the name of the fragrance. In typical fashion, before we talk about anything else, let's take a look at the presentation. The box of MYSLF is a stark black and white theme with a little bit of silver, and the word MYSLF on the front. On the bottom in silver is Yves Saint Laurent Eau de Parfum 3.3 fluid ounce or 100 ml bottle. The right side of the box has YSLbeauty.com at the bottom, and the left side a QR code at the bottom, but on both sides is embossed MYSLF, the name of the fragrance. On the back of the box are instructions on how to refill the bottle, so yes, this is a refillable bottle, which is why it's so well made. You've got an ingredients listing, address information, a UPC. On the bottom of the box, you've got your batch code and various stickers. The top of the box has the YSL logo, and on the inside is the bottle. The bottle itself is all sleek black. There is a gradient, albeit a gradual one. The top of the bottle, it starts out dark black, and the bottom is where it's lightest, where it says Eau de Parfum in white. The front of the bottle has an embossed logo of YSL. When you open the lid, the atomizer is silver with no distinguishing marks. The aperture is black. On the bottom of the bottle is an adhesive sticker with the batch code. This one is 38X as in X-ray 2003 for those of you that want to check it out on checkfresh.com, and some additional information on that sticker. That's pretty much it for the presentation. I'm going to go ahead and hold this up for a little bit so that you guys can kind of see in comparison with my hand, my head, what the bottle looks like and how big it is. Now when I first grabbed this up, I thought that it was a larger bottle than the 100 ml size, simply because it's kind of an optical illusion, but it's just 100 ml. And that's because when you first look at the bottle, it is reminiscent of the Y line insofar as it is a rectangle. This one is a bit longer, a bit taller on the shelf, and a bit thinner, but the glass is very thick and it's a very weighty, very heavy bottle. And again, super well made. It's made to unscrew the atomizer so that you have access to the bottle so that you can refill it, because it is a refillable bottle. So that's a nod towards YSL's dedication to the environment and having a refillable bottle. The lid again is black plastic, clicks into place. As I've said, very strong connection there, so you can hold the bottle up by the lid. Top of the lid has the YSL logo. That's it for the presentation. Great looking bottle. Here is what it looks like when you spray. Each pump emits a goodly portion of the juice, so you don't have to worry about spraying multiple times to get enough juice on wherever you're spraying. 1 or 2 pumps is going to be sufficient for your period of activity. What about the juice? What are the notes that make up MYSLF, or if you want to say it phonetically, MYSLF? Yves Saint Laurent's MYSLF features top notes of Calabrian bergamot and bergamot leaf, with a heart note of Tunisian orange blossom absolute, resting on a base of ambrofix, woods, and Indonesian patchouli. So there you have it, a very simple formula, just like most designers are doing. I don't feel like they're giving us the full Monty when it comes to the notes in the fragrance. So we're just getting the highlighted notes, ones that your nose can typically pick out. So let's go ahead and take a smell and see what we think. Upon first smell, I immediately get a sense of fruits, and this makes me think of YSL I. Yves Saint Laurent has got the market cornered when it comes to fruity fragrances in the Y line, and so it's really hard not to smell the Y DNA in this, especially the little bit darker like Y Le Parfum. So I'm getting that in this here, but it immediately goes into a bit more of a kind of a laundry fresh sensation. I've seen online people are determined to say that this smells like laundry detergent. I get that. I do get that, because it does give you this sense of soapy, clean, fresh. You know, one of my favorite smells, oddly enough, is Gain. You know, whether it's the garbage bags that have Gain in them that you can get at the grocery store, or the actual detergent Gain. You know, and not the Island Gain or whatever, just the original Gain. It's super fresh and clean. Who doesn't like that smell? You know, who doesn't like their clothes smelling like that? So it's not really a surprise that that would be mimicked in the fragrance. But is that all that it is? Is it just a linear laundry fresh fragrance? In some ways, I 100% get people's opinions out there that are like, I'm disappointed in this. I was expecting so much more. But I can guarantee you those people that have rated this I think a 6.5 at Parfumo.net are the people that are into men's fragrance, the ones that have a lot of experience and are actually in the fragrance community. I get that. They're expecting something a bit more out of Yves Saint Laurent, but that doesn't make this a bad fragrance. That just indicates that your opinion is coming from a broad palette of experience, much like mine. But you have to be able to step outside of your own judgment and take a look at a fragrance, what it was created for, and whether it fulfills that role. What Yves Saint Laurent wanted, I'm not even guessing, because every business wants to make money and wants to be successful. They wanted to create a new pillar fragrance that is, at the very least, crowd pleasing, smells good, mass appealing, has good performance to bring people back, obviously, to refill the bottle. Because you're not going to refill a bottle full of something that you begrudgingly wore and wore out, or set aside, or gave away. Insofar as checking each one of those items off the list, I think YSL has been successful. I think the fragrance smells immediately fresh, a little bit of fruit, a little bit of laundry fresh, shower gel, soapy, detergent-y, if you will. And that's kind of an aldehydic clean. YSL's cornered the market when it comes to aldehydes. Aldehydic simply means a combination of fruity, dry, clean, soapy. Maybe it's an oversimplification, but that's basically what it means in men's fragrance. And they definitely have successfully done that. And YSL myself. You definitely get that bergamot and bergamot leaf. One is a bit more fruity, one is a bit more, goes into the kind of the green territory. Orange blossom from Tunisia brings us into the realm of floral fruity. Ambrofix is a very powerful aroma chemical that mimics a very sensual smelling wood. You've got that, the Ambrofix, and some additional woods on top of that to build this wood platform. And then you've got that very earthy, loamy, patchouli smell. In the mid to the base is where the mix comes full circle, where you get that fruit with a little bit of green, and then it darkens, it deepens, and becomes this soapy, fresh laundry detergent clean that is both reminiscent of Gain, but also something a bit new. So it's a little bit familiar, but it's also something fresh and kind of a new take on the laundry fresh detergent smelling kind of fragrance for man. But I don't think that the market is saturated, as it were, with laundry fresh fragrances, so there's definitely room for myself on the shelf. Since this is a first impressions video, I'm not going to talk to you about longevity. I will talk to you, however, about volume. This is a very, very volumetric, and I know that's the wrong phrase. This is a voluminous fragrance. When you spray it on, it fills the room. I sprayed a spray for you guys, actually 2 of them, in the studio here, and I went upstairs to do something, and I came back down. The first thing I smelled as soon as I entered the threshold of the room was this. It fills a room, quite literally. So it is a very voluminous fragrance. Don't have to worry about someone catching your wake when you're wearing myself. They're gonna smell that dry, fruity, laundry fresh mixture along with the sensual woods and patchouli. So again, I understand the hate that this is getting online because people were expecting something a bit different and something not quite so simple and quite so linear. It is a bit of a linear fragrance, and if that's a negative thing, which it can be if you're expecting something a bit more sophisticated and a bit more mature. I think the target audience for myself can be anyone, but I do feel like in typical YSL fashion, it's targeting people from 17 to 30. So it's a little bit more of a youthful audience, you know, maybe a combination of Gen X, Gen Z, maybe even Gen YSL. Anyone can purchase it, but I feel like that's their target audience. And I think many people who own this fragrance really enjoy it because they're not part of a community that looks at fragrances with such a critical eye and such a broad palette. It's a compliment to you if you're listening to me out there in the fragrance community that you have a lot of experience. That's a good thing. But sometimes you have to pull back and look at the bigger picture, who this is made for, and if it fulfills that role. I think that it does. And I think that you, even with your experienced palette, spectrum of experience, that you can find something that you enjoy in it. Because I do, personally, if you're looking for my opinion, I think it is laundry fresh. I think it's fruity, it's dry, and it's got that nice combination of woods. But I love Ambrofix and everything that it's in. I can immediately smell it. It's a great mimic of ambergris. When combined with the right components, it really makes the fragrance last extremely long. So the performance of this is likely going to be a good 8+ hours. I told you that I wouldn't recommend purchasing it at Ulta simply because it's quite expensive. Tax and all, I think this was $170 for a 100 ml bottle. With something that is not an extrait de parfum or an elixir, it's not really recommended to spend that much money on it. This can be found at discounters and other retail outlets for much less than that. Now, I did get a cool bathrobe from Ulta, but it was Ulta brand. It wasn't a YSL bathrobe, so it wasn't super expensive or anything. That was just kind of the thing that came with it, but it's definitely not worth the price of admission. Wait till it hits discounters. It is a laundry fresh fragrance. It is a simplified linear scent, but it is a good performing scent. I don't know that it's fantastic or amazing. I feel like it might be headed in that territory, but I'll give you a full rundown when I do a full review of YSL myself. Guys, thanks so much for tuning in to today's first impressions. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have the fragrance yourself, let everyone know what your opinion is in the comments below. As always, thank you so much for your continued support on my channel. I'm Tommy with Studio Sense, and I'll see you tomorrow with another video review.